Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Roy.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Fantastic. First of all, thank you for being here. I'm
Thank you
very
for offering this.
excited.
Yeah.
And we are about to do a clean language session.
Hmm.
We're going to use only clean language for this session. And for the sake of our viewers, you do know about clean language. This is not new for you.
Hmm.
So I think this is a good demo because we have some demos with people who never experienced clean language, and here we
Hmm.
have a demo with a person who's actually very good at clean language. Yet today you're going to be in the subject's seat.
Perfect. Thank you. Look forward to that.
Fantastic. And I don't want you to give us clean answers. I want you to give us whatever answers come to you.
Perfect.
And as always, please remember that I'm going to ask you some questions that might sound strange. Just allow yourself to go with the flow, even if they don't sound grammatically correct.
Hmm.
If you don't know an answer, it's okay to say, I don't know. If we come to a topic that you feel not comfortable opening, sharing, you can say, I don't want to go deeper into that. It's absolutely fine.
Hmm.
You don't have to do anything, or maybe the best is that you feel comfortable. That's what we want you to be.
Hmm.
And do you have any questions before we begin?
No, no, I'm ready to go.
All right, good. So, Jerry, what would you like to work on today?
So I'd like to work on and this is something I've been working on for a long time, actually, I suppose, but a sense of uh, ambivalence around, uh, I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time learning various hypnosis techniques and there's a part of me that doesn't feel confident, even after all this time. Even though people say what I do is good, I still don't feel confident. Uh, and I haven't actually sold myself and turned it into a business. So there's that kind of ambivalence.
Okay. And what would you like to have happen?
And that's part of the problem because you know, ambivalence means, on the one hand, I would like to do more hypnosis with more people and be able to feel like I'm, helping, contributing, maybe even making a little money. And, on the other hand, if you do a stop smoking session with somebody and you've never actually done one before, it's the first time, it's hard to come across as an expert in stop smoking and weight loss and the fear of flying and everything that I'm doing. It's like for clients, it's the first time that I'm, everything's an experiment. And that's okay, but I don't feel so okay about it.
Okay. So, whereabout is the one hand?
On the one hand, I guess on the one hand, I got one hand here, just so there's one hand, my left hand.
And whereabout is the other hand?
Well, if I think about it, the other hand is the other hand on the right side.
And whereabout is okay?
Okay feels like it's somehow in my chest, in my central chest.
Chest. Is there anything else about okay in your chest?
If I get an image, it's kind of like a Superman costume with instead of a super S, I see a big OK in the front. And a cape, of course.
Okay, there's the cape and a Superman. And is there anything else about that Superman with the big okay and a cape, of course?
um, yeah, that that sense of I mean, it's very interesting to have that okay. It's sort of like it I am okay. It's okay, whatever I'm doing. It's okay.
Now, that other hand, what does the other hand wants?
The other hand wants wants things to be simple. You know, if I'm going to have clients, I don't want to advertise. I want them just to call me. I want them to pay me by Venmo. I don't want to deal with. I want it to be simple.
Want it to be simple. Is there anything else about simple?
Hmm. Yeah, in a way, simple. You know, simple doesn't mean me not doing anything. It just has is just not forced and not stressed. It's simple is easy, spontaneous. What's the word I'm looking for? Like synchronicity. Things just happen.
Things just happen. And when things just happen, what happens to that other hand?
Things just happen. It happens to that other hand. The other hand, what it feels like right now just feels like a heavy anchor.
Having anchor. And what needs to happen for the heavy anchor?
Interesting. That sense of a heavy anchor that sort of stops me from doing anything. Um, what needs to happen is for it to get a lot smaller.
Can that anchor get a lot smaller?
Yes, it can get a lot smaller. I'm imagining it being a lot smaller.
And when
Instead
you
of being like a big ship anchor, I'm seeing it like a keychain.
and when you imagine it becoming a lot smaller like a keychain, what happens to Superman and okay in the chest?
So interesting. It's like they're two separate images, and they're not uh, almost like one doesn't have much to do with the other. Uh, so uh, so when that gets smaller, then I put my attention back on Superman and the okay. Somehow there's something less important about Superman and okay. He's just a little bit more of an ordinary Joe.
Okay. And when it's just an ordinary job, what happens to the anchor now? The keychain anchor.
Yeah, it's a the only image I can have is that the keychain is kind of floating on top of the water. It's not holding anything down.
Good. And when the keychain is now floating on top of the water and not holding anything down. What happens to ambivalence?
It's ambivalence is not important. It's not a problem.
Not a problem.
It's just a
Is
word.
it's just a word. Is that what that's about the ambivalence being just a word?
Uh, right.
I have a feeling that this can be a very good place to at least I want to pause for a moment.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
okay with
Hmm.
the clean
Hmm.
process
Okay.
and ask you how you feel.
Um, I'm feeling okay. Um, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling okay. Uh, but there's a kind of a so what atmosphere about that okay. Like, like, okay.
Okay. Do you want us to proceed or
A
do you
little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I think
okay.
I don't feel it's not, it's not done yet.
Okay. All right. So where are you now with things? What it that okay, which is now just okay,
Mhm. Yeah. So
kind of
it's interesting. It's almost like I don't even remember what we're talking about. It's kind of
self-trance.
yeah. It's this whole thing. What are we talking about? And
Fantastic. So how
so
about what do you want to talk about now? You can,
so what do I want to talk about now? So um, I guess the next thing to talk about is what do I actually want to do with all this that I that I'm doing?
what do you actually want to do with all of this that you're doing?
Yeah,
And what kind of this is that this?
this is that this. um, no, it's a good question. Um, so what do I want to do with all of this? This. Um, so this is, I know a lot of stuff. I have a huge bag of tools, kind of, but I haven't used many of them, so I'm not sure exactly what to do with them all. But I do have them, and uh, I don't want to throw them away, uh, but I want to do something with them, but I'm not sure what that is.
And what needs to happen for you to be sure what it is?
Uh, that's a good question. So one thing that is so one thing that I'm doing that might be useful is I've volunteered to join this men's mentoring group at the local prison. So I'm going to be with a group of 6 or 8 inmates and uh, being with another partner, leading conversations with these men, and I'm hoping that that'll be like an internship, a chance to really play with all kinds of things and lots of people, lots of problems, naive population. Uh, I, I, so that might really just give me a chance to get my feet wet.
And when you get your feet wet
Mhm.
and you let things just happen, what happens then?
Right. I think I think we all have different ways of learning. And I think that's how I learn. I learn by doing. And I need an internship and an apprenticeship. And so I'm hoping that this will be uh, my internship and my apprenticeship. Because once my feet are wet, in that sense, then I think I'll have more confidence to go out and do it with other people. Be more comfortable asking people to pay me money when I've done it once or twice before, right?
Fantastic. My question to you now is, what kind of confidence is that confidence?
It's an interesting question because every session is different. Every session is unique. You never know what's going to happen. Uh, so it's not the confidence that is predicting, like, I know what's going to happen, but it's a confidence that um, just feels that I could go out there and go with anybody's problem, and wing it in a way that might be useful.
Wing it in a way that might be useful. And what kind of useful is that useful?
The useful is that it actually makes changes in people's behavior and their level of fear and their level of whatever their problem is. So yeah, it's a matter of not just having a good time in trance, but of actually doing something that makes a difference.
And what determines useful?
What determines useful is the client's sense that they feel satisfied that they got what they wanted.
And
Or if they didn't get what they wanted, they learned that they wanted something else than what they thought they wanted, and they got that.
and if they don't get what they want,
Mm.
what happens then?
Um, well, then I accept that they didn't get what they want, and they're going to probably go find somebody else and look somewhere else.
And when they accept that they didn't get what they want and they go to find someone else, probably look for someplace else, what happens to wing it and confidence?
Mm. Yeah, then I might actually. It depends on the situation, but in some situations, I might actually feel badly that I didn't that I missed something. And
And
it's interesting because I can think of several situations that were kind of like that, uh, but not completely like that. So, like I've worked a lot with people in pain who have physiological conditions. One woman had multiple compression fractures in her spine. So the fact that she's, doing more and being a bit more active and a bit more optimistic and still has fractures all over her spine. I mean, that's real. Um, but I think I didn't feel that good about it. Actually, I thought that she kept on looking for other practitioners and this and that, and I think I get jealous when people go to the chiropractor and the witch doctor and everybody else. Um, but and so even if she didn't think I did much to help her, just the fact that she was out and about and looking at other things was kind of better than where she was before. It's weird.
What kind of weird? Is that weird?
The weird is feeling jealous when people go to other practitioners,
And
and
when
feeling jealous and hurt, like, oh, I'm not, I wasn't good enough, and angry,
and
uh,
angry,
and
jealous, and
angry,
hurt, and angry, and not good enough. Where can
and
they come from?
okay, what's what
Where can anger and jealous and angry and not good enough, where can that come from?
comes from my being very judgmental and thinking that people are quite stupid most of the
Okay? And is there anything else about people are stupid most of the time?
time. You know, of course, there's a tremendous amount of arrogance when I say that, but it, you know, but I do get frustrated sometimes with, where I'm living particularly, it's a lot of wealthy old hippies, and there's a lot of kind of very new agey thinking, and I mean everything from angels to people coming down and writing books out of space and God knows what, and and I have a hard time not thinking that's kind of stupid.
When arrogance and jealous and hurt and not being good enough, is there a relationship between them and confident?
Yes, yes.
And
I
what
think
is
they're
that?
two sides. I think they're two sides of the coin.
So when confident, what happens to arrogance and jealous and hurt and not being good enough?
I think when confident, then I don't have all those. I don't have that, because confidence comes from doing a good job, having people feel like they've successfully made the changes they want to make, having people not, leave you to go see the aromatherapist and the God knows what else. Uh, uh, so yeah, confidence is a reflection of being competent, of helping people.
Mm, doing a good job. What kind of good or good job is that doing a good job?
Doing a good job, doing a good job is really um, somehow working with this other person and having them somehow get in touch with their best resources and have them figure out a way to solve their problem. Uh, yeah, somehow. Yeah.
Have them figuring out a way to solve their problem.
Have them figure out a way to solve their problem.
And is there
So
a relationship between have them figure out a way to solve their problem and doing a good job?
yeah, yeah. Uh, so part of doing a good job is you know, to help, what's coming to me right now when I think about that, the goal is to help people find a way to figure out their own problem. Um, the problem sometimes is the belief system they have around their problem. And the question is, how do you help people change an unhelpful belief system if they really believe it? And if I push too hard to try to change their belief system, then I'm just giving them my belief system, which doesn't work. Even if my belief system is, in my opinion, rational. But so so that becomes a big part of the problem. Again, my specialty along the way was chronic pain, and in chronic pain, there is a physical component, there is a psychological component, and there's a social component. And I think all three are there all the time, in one in different proportions. Uh, but most people don't believe that. They believe it's all the physical component. And if only they found the right doctor and they can cut it out and give it the medicine and the right manipulation or the right acupuncture needle, that somehow the pain would go away. So the struggle then is really around opening up that belief system that your pain is more than just uh, a physiological issue. That it's your worrying and your stress and your uh, aggravating relationships and not having enough money. All that makes your pain worse. And sometimes if you deal with that, then the physical stuff becomes much easier to deal with, so much that it might even go away. But but my goodness, the it's not easy to get that across to somebody who's having really severe physical pain, because their pain is so fucking real and it hurts. And there's got to be something wrong in my body when it hurts that much. And so that's my struggle.
And that struggle, what needs to happen for that struggle to dissolve, disappear, to not be there?
I think, as I say that, I think more patience, and maybe both words, more patience and more patience. Uh, uh, uh,
Yes.
but more patience means, yes, it might take a person. I'm a little hooked on the NLP, 3 session, 4 session thing. But chronic pain might be 8 months. It might not. It might take a long time for that to happen, and more patience uh, is the whole idea that having more practice might make it work better, give me more understanding of the nuances of that. And to be honest, even I don't completely trust my model, and sometimes think that if I only had the right physical tool, it would be the most useful thing.
And what kind of physical tool is that physical tool?
Um, um, you know, there's within the world of physical therapy, there's all these different schools of thought. And there are some schools of thought that say, well, when people come in with this chronic back pain, you watch their protective movement behaviors, and there's ways of training them out of their protective movement behaviors. And if you could train them out of those behaviors so they're not being so overly protective that they start to move better and then they start to actually be better. And that's a whole system that I don't really know. And I don't really have the energy, the money, the time, the patience to actually study it. And nobody does it really. It's an Australian model that I think is great. But anyway, so there's a part of me that think only people, yeah. So yeah.
How long does it take to train? Not
Oh,
US. No, no.
probably 3 months in Australia.
For for patients to train.
Oh, to get that,
Yeah. How long does it take
you know,
for to
I
be
don't know. I don't
trained
know. In movement,
incorrect?
I, I don't know, and I suspect there's lots of ways. I mean, I don't know. This patient with the chronic fractures, she started doing Tai Chi and she got a lot better. And so because she was moving and not overguarding and overprotecting, and I think that's the secret most of the time, is to get people to move through their overprotection. Anyways, it's a
Oh,
lot of Michigas.
yeah. And this,
What
I've
kind of Michigas is that? Michigas?
no. What else is there about overprotecting?
Um, you know, I it's so tricky. It can be totally understandable, totally understandable. Sometimes it might be the right thing to do. Um, but I think often uh, it becomes a behavioral habit that really stops people from getting better.
And Jerry,
So
is there a relationship between confidence, hurt, jealousy, arrogance, and overprotecting?
probably, probably, and probably the part of that is that uh, I don't really know how to help people stop overprotecting themselves. And and to take that metaphor further, sometimes it's overprotecting in movement, and it might be overprotecting in other ways as well. All these psychological ways, overprotecting in their relationships, overprotecting in their other ways.
What kind of overprotecting is that overprotecting?
I'm thinking, yeah.
I have a better, no, no, let me ask you a different question. What
Okay.
does overprotecting want?
Overprotecting. The one thing that comes to my mind is overprotecting uh, takes away people's power, makes them like babies. And that's really what I think in so many different ways. Overprotecting, being overly sensitive, uh, it's lack of resilience, and uh, and uh, and somehow I see it so much. People like being weak. They like being like babies, and they want to take care of me. I'm so sick, and I'm so weak, and I'm so frail, and I'm so fragile, and all that.
And that overprotecting is like what?
It's like um, several things. One thing, it's stupid. I mean, I can have judgments about it. It's stupid. It's um, it's lack of power, lack of maturity, uh, lack of resilience, and and it's a kind of a weakness.
And if you would give,
Hmm?
if you would give, like, does does overprotective have a shape?
So as I said, a whole bunch of different shapes went by my mind, you know. Uh, but overprotective, if it had a shape, it would be uh, um, very unusual shape, like kind of like squiggly without any real form. Not a square, not a triangle, not a rectangle, but kind of a mess.
And where is overprotective?
Overprotective is it's in the heart and it's in the stomach and it's in the bowels and it's in the genitals. It's but it's right down into the core of the being.
And what needs to happen for overprotective to stop being over, just protective?
Hmm. Yeah. What needs to happen is I just got the sense it can be quite simple. Just finding things that that you can do, finding things that you like to do and that you can do, and doing them.
Jerry,
And again, I go back to my woman who started doing Tai Chi and she liked it. And it was, I'm sure, a very simple kind of a Tai Chi. And she went from being afraid to bend and afraid to move to, within certain reasonable limits, uh, being able to bend and being able to move. And
and what kind of things do you like to do?
I like to play tennis. I like to ride my bicycle. I like to cook. I like to make love to my wife. I like to grow my orchids. And uh, I like to get things done. I like to, when I'm taking some of these courses, follow through and all that. Lots of stuff.
And do you like working and helping people?
I think I do.
Think you do.
You know, you know, uh, when I'm doing it, actually, when I'm doing it, I do like it. When I'm doing it, I do like it. When I think about doing it, I might not like it. When I think about doing it and I have to plan the dates and be there on time, I might not like it. But when I'm doing it, I tend to like it.
So when you do it and you like it, what happens to overprotective?
When I do it and I like it, uh, and there's flow, then there is no overprotective. So it's interesting that flow is like the opposite of that.
Where is flow?
Flow is it. Flow is in the moment. Flow is only when you're in flow.
So flow is in the moment. And when is overprotective?
Overprotective is uh, kind of in your head and a little bit like an armor and a little bit like a shell.
Yeah, but when is overprotective?
When is overprotective? Overprotective is uh, is I mean the thing that comes to my mind is it's later. It's next. It's not now.
Not. Yeah. And when is now?
Hmm. Yeah, and that's just yeah, that I love you got to love now. It's that if you're a movie director, it's every frame is now.
Is there anything else besides now?
You know,
So when now, what happens to overprotective?
when now, and I'm in the flow, and and the client could be an overprotective, but when I'm now and in the flow, um, it's interesting. It's like uh, for me, it doesn't matter.
You, it doesn't matter. And when it doesn't matter for you, then what happens to you?
I'm just thinking if I stay in that sense of now and presence, then it doesn't matter and I'm okay. But I always fall out of it and sort of look at the situation from a different perspective, from not from my now, but from, I don't know, some other now. And then I see that the person hasn't really changed and that they're still overprotective and they're still afraid and they still think that 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 most of their pain is caused by and it could be physical or emotional pain, doesn't really matter, that it's caused by something outside of their consciousness. And yeah, but it's an interesting thing, it's an interesting thing to look at what happens if I could be just right here, then whatever happening to them, well, let them take responsibility for that and say, well, I've done what I can, and to lead the horse to water, and if they drink, they drink, and if they don't, it's not really my problem.
And when it is not really your problem and
Mm-hmm.
you do whatever you can, then what?
Then ideally you just go say goodbye. But sometimes in reality, I feel bad.
And when you feel bad, then what happens?
Then I get on with my day and I forget about feeling bad. But but somewhere in the back of my consciousness, I think that affects my confidence.
And again, I'm going to pause and to ask you, how do you feel right now with
I
all?
feel exhausted. I feel a little sad. I feel like I've got some insight. Um, I'm not sure how helpful that insight is, but I do have some insight. Uh, And I mean, I'm feeling more aware of my problem, as it were. A little bit aware of the solution, which is just to be in the now, and it's not my fault. It's not my problem. I only do what I can do. Um, and that all said, it's hard for me to be okay with that.
Is that okay with you that we stop the
Stuff.
clean session right
Yeah,
now?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So, first of all, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I hope this was an okay session. I felt I was a bit all over the place, but
I think it is a very, very interesting session. It was for me very much. And I
mhm,
want to say something about this because
mhm.
for me,
Okay.
this session was a very good demonstration of the fact that clean language, again, by default, is not a change modality. Right?
Right,
So right now, we have worked around your issue and
right,
we brought things into the light.
mhm, right, exactly.
And um, my it's like my therapist, my inner
Mhm,
therapist,
mhm.
want to remind you, and I was so glad that you said that it came from you, that you can only bring the horse to drink, you cannot force it. You can
Right,
only give people the best that you can, but
right,
you will never be the one that will decide what they take from it and what they will do from it.
right. It's so important to remember that.
And this is where it's like in clean language during the session, this is not something that I can emphasize for you.
Mhm.
Yet now that we're done with the clean part,
Right, right.
it's much easier, and that is one of the
Mhm,
challenges in clean.
mhm.
It's like I wanted to tell you that so badly, so many times,
Right,
and knowing that if I will say that, you will be like, yes, of course, of course. However, I believe that it is by far more beneficial that eventually it came from you.
right, right.
And also from the therapeutic point, like I believe that if you look inside, you might find the part in you that is overprotecting you.
Mhm, mhm.
'Cause many times, most people that work in change work, somehow the thing that they work on, that their speciality is the thing that they carry with themselves as well.
Interesting, yeah.
And the thing is that because we carry this, we know it so well, it is fairly easy for us to work with others about that. Because
Mhm.
you said it's like if you don't smoke and you never did a smoking cessation thing, it's like you don't know what it will feel like, what it is, like you're not connected.
Right, right.
Yet if you sounds like, if I may I say, that is a
Mhm,
personal opinion,
mhm,
that you are dealing with overprotecting yourself.
mhm.
And then,
I'm not sure in which way that would be, though. Anyways, it's hard to figure.
okay, that is like for another session.
Yeah, right, 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 right,
Right?
right,
This is now an invitation if you want to look at.
right, right. No, no, I'd look at that, and one of the things I like to consider is the concept of resilience. I love resilience, and we have people over for dinner, and I can't eat tomatoes, and I can't eat garlic, and I can't eat wheat, and I can't eat protein, and I can't eat. So what am I going to do? Give you a bean?
Chocolate.
I and there's that sense of I, the word that comes to me is it's entitled sensitivity. You know, they've just gotten so entitled that they can't tolerate everyday life, and it's so weak and so lacking in resilience, and it's made worse by therapy because most of these people are therapists and have been through therapy for 30 years. uh, so so yeah, I'm a bit of an asshole when it comes to that. I just don't have that much patience for people's. I told you the word I love is I don't have patience for their mishigas, and
Yeah.
the opposite of their mishigas to me is resilience.
Okay. Well,
And you know, I don't know much about Israelis, but what I would imagine Israelis are tough son of a guns.
well, like anything, you will find those and you will find those who are not.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Anyway, so I really want to thank you once again. I'm going to stop the
Thank you,
recording.
thank you. No, it's very, and I'm going to have a lot of stuff to chew on here.
Yeah,
A
and you're
lot of
able
stuff
to
to chew
watch
on.
this as well if you want, because what I do find that we tend to think that we remember everything, but even midway, you didn't remember what we had spoke about the first part.
Oh,
And I think
well,
that when you look at it with fresh eyes
it'll be
and
useful.
with your therapeutic eyes and
Right,
with kind and warm and loving parts, you might
right,
find some interesting thing there for yourself.
right, right. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, that session we did last Sunday,
Well,
I've been doing.
before you go there, let me just say goodbye to our viewers and
Oh
thank you.
yeah, say goodbye to our viewers. I'm sorry.
You can say
I
goodbye
thought we
to the
did that.
viewers as well.
Goodbye to the viewers. Thank you so much.